Welcome to Impact the World, a podcast from West Park Baptist Church in Knoxville, Tennessee. This is where we discuss topics related to how we can all love God, love people, and impact the world. Here's your host, Tara Hayes.
I'm your host, Tara Hayes, and today I get to sit down with a sweet friend, Kelsey
Good morning.
McKinney. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. So I feel like this podcast is going to be really encouraging because we've already cried before we even started recording this, right?
It is true, yes.
Yeah. So if that gives an indication of any way that this is going to go, it's going to be awesome. But anybody that listens to this podcast knows that I cry all the time anyway, so... But it's going to be really good. But like I said, today I have Kelsey McKinney with me. She has been interning with us this summer. She's been a wealth of ministry opportunities. And so I just wanted to take the opportunity to sit down and to chat with you. First, for those of you who might not know Kelsey, you probably or may know her parents, Rich and Maggie McKinney, who are very involved here at the church. Her mom's involved with women's ministry. Her dad and mom both are involved in an equipping class. And her sister just got back from a big trip to Africa.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to come from a family that it's a legacy of faith. I mean, my grandmother goes to church here, and she just loves the Lord. And then
Your grandmother's awesome.
Yes, she loves the Lord so much. It's such an encouragement to see. And then just my parents, and then getting to have even those conversations with my sister about missions, and we both are looking towards international missions. And so just being surrounded by like great people in my life has been such an encouragement.
Yeah, well, and that is exactly why I want to talk to you, because you are from a family with a legacy of faith and a heart to serve. And I just want to talk about kind of how you got there, but then really all of the doors that the Lord opened up for you this summer and the ways that he ministered to you. He allowed you to minister to people. So first tell us, you're in a week or so headed back to college. Tell us where you go and what you study.
Yeah, I go to Union University in Jackson, Tennessee, so close to Memphis. But I am a double major there. I'm studying journalism and Christian ministry and missions. And kind of the goal with that, the end goal would be to go into international missions from a communications perspective.
That's awesome.
Kind of what grips my heart is there's so many news stories of just brokenness and war and pain. So to be like a journalist that gets to write stories of hope, and when you think of those tough places around the world, to be like, God is doing a great thing. That's what I would love to do.
Well, I think that's so exciting because I think it's really easy for us to be very comfortable where we are. We're blessed to have an awesome church that does minister locally. And so it's easy to get wrapped up with what's happening here in West Knoxville, which is amazing. God's doing wonderful things, and we're for sure going to talk about that today. But I think the reminder that God is, there are billions of people in the world, and the fact that He knows each one, and He's working through so many of them, and there are so many amazing stories of what He's doing. And it's such an exciting future to think about, an opportunity that He's going to give you.
Yeah, and even like I was saying, coming up in a legacy of faith, like I'm so thankful for West Park. I remember when I was in Awana in elementary school, having missionaries come in during the missions conference, and when I was in middle and high school at 633 every year. And so not just West Park's emphasis on missions, but connecting children with missionaries and connecting the youth with missionaries. That's just been like such an encouragement in my life. And I feel like I'm only 19 and I already have so many missionary connections.
Yeah,
so
you really do.
That's just an amazing blessing.
Anytime we hear about Kelsey being connected with another missionary, I'm like, I'm not really surprised. I'm not surprised at all, which I think is fantastic. It's
for
really
sure.
exciting.
It's a great learning experience.
Yeah. So with that in mind, that's kind of what led you to your multiplicity of opportunities this summer. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So this has definitely been a busy summer. First summer home from college. A couple years ago, back in 2023, the high school ministry switched what we were doing for our local mission trip. And so instead of going to Camp Tapawingo, we made the decision to do a service week with CedarBrook. I'll be honest, at first I was a little disappointed.
That's not what I had in mind.
No, it's not going away to camp. It's not that excitement, but I got there, and I think it was just day one, and I had a really sweet conversation with a Muslim family, which is really near and dear to my heart. And so I'm like, wow, that was so cool, God. And so that really just opened my heart for CedarBrook. From that, was able to go back to that same community, do a weekly kids Bible club with the kids, and some of us from the team went and did that, and so that was an amazing experience. Another CedarBrook service week, senior year, and my heart's sold out for CedarBrook at this point, and so
that didn't take long.
No, if you get involved, you'll love it.
Yeah.
And then I came back for Christmas break after being gone at my first semester for college. And I had lunch with Lisa and Allison. And I was like, what about an internship this summer? And so that's kind of how it started.
Wow. Well, and for those of you who might be listening that might not know about CedarBrook, it is a nonprofit that was born out of West Park that we now partner with. And they partner with a lot of churches in the area, several churches. And they go out into local communities and they do Bible clubs, and they have food pantries, and basically any way that the Lord leads them to be able to share the gospel with these communities. A lot of people from other countries, a lot of people just culturally different beliefs. And so CedarBrook has an amazing opportunity just right here within 2.5 miles of our church. So it's a great ministry if you're not familiar with it. But so tell me I'm sure that they were ecstatic when you said, hey, why don't you give me an internship this summer? Because they always need help.
Yes. So that kind of led into planning. I think it was in March where they kind of sent me my job description, officially called the community outreach intern.
I like it.
But that was pretty multifaceted. In June, main roles were leading and planning we did 2 different VBSs in 2 different communities. And so I got to lead that, which was just so cool. Aww. Our theme for this summer was Anchored in Christ. I love the beach theme. And so just getting to do that was a super cool experience. And also just being reminded that we have hope as an anchor. If you were to ask me to sum up my life story in one word, I would say hope, 100%. And so that's so much of what fuels my heart for missions is the hope. No matter what challenges you have, no matter where you are, whether you're, in a good situation or a bad situation, there's just hope. And I can't go in and change all of their circumstances, but I can point them to Jesus. And so
that's was so much what the world needs is hope.
Yeah. That was really the heart behind that. But then I guess a cool part of that was getting to help mobilize other people here at the church to get involved and to get serving. And so that was such a cool experience just to go in with a plan and then equip other people to carry that out. So it was really cool just to see families get involved with CedarBrook for the first time through that. So much happened both of those weeks. A really cool story at our first VBS that we did, we started off with only 7 kids. And it was kind of, 7 kids is 7 kids, and, and we were grateful. But it was kind of disappointment because this neighborhood just abounds with children.
Yeah.
By the third and final day, we had 23 kids.
Yay.
Literally chanting VBS, VBS. And so that was just so cool, probably bringing our numbers to 27 to 30.
That's awesome.
Throughout in that neighborhood across all 3 days.
Yeah.
And even at the next neighborhood, we just had a really good turnout both times.
Well, and that's really foundational for next year if you do the same thing. Those kids are going to remember that, and they're going to say, hey, this was good times. We need to go back and make connections with them. That's awesome.
Yeah. And just, I guess, my heart after that day where we went from 7 to 23 kids, it was really just watching Ephesians 3:21 and 22 on display, where it's the Lord does far more abundantly than we could ever ask or imagine. And on that Monday when we had 7 kids, we actually had to do 2 rounds of VBS because we had 4 kids and then 3 kids. So such small groups. And then to have 23, literally we're running out of, we had them sit on beach towels and we're running out of towels. The room is overflowing. And that was just the kindness of the Lord.
That's awesome. So what other activities or projects were you able to work on with CedarBrook this summer?
Yeah, so from a journalism perspective, I was able to write a lot of God stories for them. I would just sit down with Lisa and or Allison and talk through what God's doing in the community, which was really cool for me to get to kind of catch up and get to hear some of those stories. I love words. I love making stories pretty and just really getting to flow. And so that was fun just to get some practical journalism experience. Definitely confirms that's what I want to do. And so that was just a really good experience. We talked about like what God's doing in the lives of different residents and also what God has been up to in our new Summer of Change program that we started this year.
Oh, wow. Talk a little bit about that.
So yeah,
that is an amazing program.
Yes. We actually just had the graduation for that on Friday night. But basically, the Summer of Change program, we started in one of our neighborhoods that we're most established in, and we took the 4 oldest, most connected kids that have been consistently coming to Bible Club and all the different activities. And we're like, we recognized a need. They needed basic life skills. They needed, just some people to walk alongside of them to help prepare them as they're entering into middle and high school. And so Lisa and Allison saw that need and they rose up to the challenge. And so they spent, I don't remember how many weeks it was, but the end of May to the beginning of August. And we talked about things like hygiene and how to read a nutrition label. And we took them back to school shopping and so many more things throughout the summer. But it was really cool to give them healthy activities to do when school's not in session, but also help their future be a little bit brighter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's life-changing. If you think about, you don't come from maybe a home or a background that just teaches you basic skills like how to budget, how to meal plan, and how to just take care of yourself. I think that's exciting, and that is definitely life-changing. And really opens up opportunity to share the gospel with them.
Yeah, I think even though our main goal is to share the gospel with them, having programs like the Summer of Change program shows them that we're really intentional about investing in them as a whole person.
Right.
It's not just we want to save them and leave. It's, no, we are invested in you and we are committed to helping you have the skills you need to succeed in life. And of course, the most important life skill is to know Christ, which I think even on that note, something I learned this summer is ministry is never a checklist. I love completing tasks, checking it off, and moving on to the next thing. And it was really hard. On one of the life skill days, we did have a conversation about the gospel with these 4. It was right after we had been doing VBS all week, and so it was just gospel presentation after gospel presentation. And they received it, but none of them are saved. And it got to the point where I'm like, why go back next week? Like, we've been in this neighborhood for 8 years. Why go back? Because the Lord is faithful. And a phrase that's been on my heart this summer is he pursued us because he loves us. And we go back because the Lord had pursued us when we didn't receive that. And so just getting to see the faithfulness of CedarBrook and the faithfulness of the Lord, and we do go back and we do keep loving them, and just trusting that the Lord will bring the harvest when the time is right.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it really does speak to them about how our God pursues us and how he loves us and he's faithful. And you never know when that's going to click with them or when the Holy Spirit is going to help them to really see, like, I love you. I want to be number one in your life and I can change, I can change your whole outlook. So, wow, it sounds like an amazing summer, but I know CedarBrook was not the only thing you did this summer.
No. If you know me, you know I love to stay busy, both for good and to my detriment at times.
Yes, we'll talk about that, but anyway.
But yeah, I had a lot of different opportunities to plug in, one of which was our church actually has an amazing Parents Day Out program. And so this is my second year helping with the summer program. And that is a ministry in and of itself.
Yes, it is.
I was with 2-year-olds and then a 4- and 5-year-old class. And they just grip your heart. They're so sweet. It is very exhausting to go from 2-year-olds to CedarBrook.
Yeah.
But the Lord sustained me, and so I am grateful for that. But just getting to invest in children so young, I think that really sets the example of having that heritage of faith. And I don't know if they get that at home like I did. And so getting to be that person in their life from a young age that says Jesus is better, and you say it in ways they can understand, but But that was just a really good experience, I think, just to be able to, I watched the kids go, Jesus is inclusive. Like he loves people. So I'm going to love this classmate when it's hard to love them. And I'm going to forgive them when it's hard to forgive them. And so watching them make those connections in their heads, more the 4 and 5-year-olds than the 2-year-olds, but
I was going to say, wow, you must be magic with the 2-year-old.
no, but watching them make those connections was just so encouraging for me that sometimes it's easy to be like, oh, like the Lord, they're too young for the Lord.
Yeah.
But the Lord saved me when I was 5. And so getting to give that gift of Jesus to them was a really good experience.
That's awesome. There seems to be a theme between CedarBrook and PDO, and I know there's even more that you did this summer, but of planting seeds. And sometimes it's hard for us to remember that we're not always there for the harvest, but you can't have a harvest until the seed is planted. And so the fact that you can speak into these lives and plant the seeds and nurture and water and do all the things until the Lord takes you to your next adventure. So that's an amazing opportunity. So again, I know you had another opportunity this summer.
Yes. So in July, I had the opportunity to go to Greece with a team here from West Park. And that was just an amazing opportunity. It was my second time overseas. I loved it just as much as ever. And that was, again, very much planting seeds because we were only with the kids at camp. We went to Greece, but it was a camp with Polish kids.
That's not confusing at all.
No,
English speakers in Greece ministering to Polish people. It's exciting.
Hey, the Lord is multicultural.
Exactly.
So that was really cool, the God of all languages, just to see that on display. But I guess one story I'll share from that is I was able to meet a girl there, and it was the Lord's timing, how it worked out. So we'll talk about this a little bit more later. But so when I went to Greece, I was having some breathing problems. And so we went to lead games. We decided it was best that I wasn't doing all the games. And so I went to the pool time when the rest of my team was doing games. While I was at the pool, I saw a girl that I had talked to a little bit the previous day, and we just sat down. She speaks 6 languages.
Oh, my word.
Could not be me, but she speaks 6, one of those being English, so we were able to communicate. And we just sat down, 30 minutes, just talked by the side of the pool, and we went back and forth between religious conversation and just, normal, how was life, and getting to know her, and so that was really sweet. She found me the next day or 2 days later and said, "Are you going to be at the pool? I want to talk to you again." And so we did, and we kept talking about things. Fast forward to Friday night. It was the last night during worship, and she was literally sobbing in my arms for like 30 minutes. And she comes from a religious home, but not going to
relational.
church. Yeah, not going to church every week. And she told me, she said, "I never knew that religion could be this deep." Like, she experienced the love of God that week.
Wow.
And so I just held her as she cried, and they were singing songs in Polish that I knew in English. And so the band's playing with Polish. I'm singing over her in English. She probably understands both. And it was just 30 minutes. And it was just like, wow, that happened because I was having breathing problems.
Yeah.
And like the Lord uses my weakness for that. Like that makes it worth it,
Well, and I think there's so many things that we question why they're happening or what's going on. But like you said, the Lord uses that. And I think that's a really good segue into, I know everything about this summer sounds absolutely amazing, and it has been. But with ministry, there's often difficulty. It's not always easy. And so I know that there have been some things happen in the summer that are not the easiest, but talk to us about what the Lord has encouraged you about and taught you through some of the difficulties in ministry, because I think it's a good reminder to all of us. Difficulty in ministry is not God saying you're not doing the right thing. That's not, I mean, difficulty is going to come in ministry, no matter who you are or how you're serving. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So some of you guys know I'm pretty open about this, but something that I've been struggling with for really since high school, but kind of for the past 8 years, is I have a lot of different chronic pain and I get fatigued really easily. There's a lot of different aspects of how that all plays out. But just when you do ministry every day, you can't just rely on, oh, I love kids. I love being in this community. Like, this is great. Like, you need something deeper to cling to because good motivation is not enough. Good intentions aren't enough.
Yeah.
Like, you need the gospel. And I'm so passionate about the gospel for everyday strength. The amount of times where I just pulled into work just a couple minutes early. I sat in my car. A song that's been on repeat for me this summer is called My Life is an Offering by Sovereign Grace Music. And it's just like, I choose to lose my life to find it in you. And just having those truths like on repeat, like, Lord, I am literally pouring all of me out right now. I have nothing left to give, but I lay it down anyways. I just have 5 fish and 2 loaves or 2 loaves and 5 fishes. I don't remember. But it's like, I just have a little bit to give.
Yeah.
And like letting him multiply that and letting him sustain me. And when you find that, like in the Lord, like when you find that strength, I can't say this is what I did. I have to say, like, this is the Lord.
Yeah.
Even this morning, I was reading in Psalms 107. And it's so interesting because it describes all these different scenarios of people being like kind of in the worst case scenario, often because of their own choices. And the Lord still saves them. Yeah. Like, he saves us when it's least expected, when it's least deserved, when it's least earned. He still delights in rescuing us and helping us and strengthening us. And so that's why the word, like I said earlier, the word to sum up my story is hope. Because in the gospel, there's so much hope and there's so much strength to keep going, even on the days when I just feel completely exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, now you all understand why we were crying before we even started recording this. But I think it's a good reminder because there are a lot of people who are struggling with things and they don't want to talk about it because maybe by not talking about it, it's going to go away, or they don't want to admit weakness. But I think God reminds us that he is our strength in weakness. And when we offer what we have that he's given us back to him, he turns around and does amazing things with it. I mean, like you said, you would not have thought, well, I can't do the games. I'm going to, that's going to lead to this time with this girl by the pool that literally has probably changed her thinking, the direction of her life for the better. And so it's really hard to be upset that you have problems when you see the way God uses them.
Yeah. And I think that's just what fires me up, because like, what other religion, like what other God delights in using your weaknesses for his glory? Like, that's just so contrary to anything else that we would expect. The God who created everything would take time to give me life and breath, and everything else would take time to strengthen me and help me and uphold me with his righteous right hand. And so I think that's another reason why, just like when you go into ministry, being equipped with scripture, I mean, that's changed everything, because it's times like that I can go back to the promises of God and say, like, you promised that you would strengthen me and help me. You promised that you would never leave me or forsake me. And then getting to taste and see that he is good and watch those promises come true. I mean, the other day I was like, I was sorting through backpacks and it was hot and I had a headache and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then like the Lord sends a cool breeze. And sometimes it's like in big ways, like the story, from Greece, where you get to have like a life-changing conversation with someone. And sometimes it's small and the Lord just sends a cool breeze. But when you go into it being like, this is the Lord, even in the ordinary moments, it really just like renews your hope.
It really does. Wow. This has been an amazing conversation and super encouraging. I can't imagine that people who have listened who are not fired up now because Kelsey McKinney has been on this podcast and sharing what God has done this summer. But so future plans, you're going back to school.
Yeah, I go back on Sunday, so we'll be around for the first service and then we'll hit the road. And then my classes start on Tuesday, so a week from tomorrow. Wow. Jumping back into it, year 2. But full force. I'm excited. I kind of think about it. The goodbyes are hard. They really are. But I think about it being like a garden. Like
Yeah.
I have so many different gardens now that I just get to kind of hop back and forth between. And I think when something that I've been thinking about a lot recently is like when you're rooted in Christ, even when the Lord uproots you and plants you in another city temporarily, it's like you still go with that same foundation. And then, just joining forces in prayer. Like even though I can't be with CedarBrook physically anymore, I can't be here. I have new ways to pray for them and to pray for the residents that I've met, and even back in Greece, praying for them. And so when you go with that hope that like I have the Spirit of God that's literally everywhere, then I can go in prayer and I can be there through prayer.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're excited for what lies ahead in this second year, and hopefully maybe the Lord will open up doors for you to come back next summer.
Yeah.
Even if you're not with CedarBrook, I'm sure beyond all question that you will be involved in so many ways, and who knows what kind of opportunities the Lord's going to open up for you this year. But if you all have listened to this podcast, take time to say some prayer for Kelsey as she gets ready to start her year ahead, and pray for strength physically, spiritually.
Yes.
But also take time to thank God what he has taken time and what he has done through her this summer in CedarBrook. I know she has been a huge encouragement and an instrument of his grace. And I'm going to cry again. It's just amazing to watch people who grow up in this church who continue to love the Lord and serve him. So thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you. And just, if you're listening and you've prayed for me this summer, or whether you were my second grade Sunday school teacher or you've encouraged me even now, I'm just so grateful because I am here because of you. And it's because of the Lord. It's because of the faithfulness of this church. So for myself, on behalf of CedarBrook, I just want to say thank you.
Wow. Thanks, Kelsey.
Thank you.
And I look forward to, I'm pretty sure this will not be the last time that I sit down and chat with you.
Hey, I love it. So this is good.
You're always welcome back.
Thank you.
Have a great year.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Impact the World. To find out more about West Park Baptist Church in Knoxville, Tennessee, visit westparkbaptist.org.